The reality is that this is a growing problem. There's a third more women now suffering from liver disease than 5 years ago. Surely these things are trivialising what is a very serious problem.
I mean, it is a serious issue, of course, and I think the thing is, perhaps, you know, what's become an in-joke about mums has sort of been misconstrued in some of these. But at the end of the day, you know, mums aren't, you know, going home or sort of picking up, you know, the kids after school and, you know, tucking into the wine from, you know, 3 o'clock. Sometimes it's just like one drink at the end of the day when we've been stressed out, just like, you know, Dad might be going to the pub after work for a drink.
Although you can't imagine jokey things like that on an ashtray being encouraged as a present from Mum, can you? And, you know, for those that argue it, alcohol is as dangerous a drug for some and could potentially harm and kill as many people.
Yes, that's true. And obviously, I think as mums, you know, it's our responsibility to sort of, you know what we should be doing in terms of alcohol consumption. I definitely do not condone, you know, drinking sort of more than 1 glass a night. I think, you know, anyone that's doing more than that, you know, they need to be thinking about what they're doing. At the end of the day, for me, this is fun. If you're taking it a step too far, then, you know, you need to sort of take a look at yourself.
So there is a fine line then, Helena, between the fun and actually having a drink and relaxing and enjoying these things, which is sort of a cheeky little sort of ode to the fact that mums, not just mums, but dads as well, like to have a drink when they get home or when the kids have gone to bed. And then the next stage, which is liver disease.
Well, I think you have to think, I would like to go back to the role of being a parent and a mum. And if you think of your 7-year-old reading that, you know, that you can't cope with your children unless you have a glass of wine because it's so stressful and they're so difficult and you've had a long day. What sort of role model are you actually sort of giving to your children? And it's quite interesting. I mean, 1 glass, absolutely. But we know that children as young as 7 recognise drunkenness and drinking too much. And they actually don't like it when mummy gets loud and shouty and giggly. And they can actually find it very threatening.
You're right, and it is an important point, but I can sort of feel mums and dads across the country this morning thinking, oh, for the love of God, give us a break. We're told to do so many things. It's a piece of fun. What next? We're not allowed to buy each other chocolates because that could lead to obesity. Where will it end? Of course, drinking excessively is wrong for some people who take it too far, but do we have to hector the majority of people who don't?
I don't think it's a question of hectoring. Actually, when I knew I was coming on this programme, I did a Google search for wine o'clock. Do you know how many results came up?
Well, a fair few, I'd imagine.
19 million results came up. And it's not just wine o'clock. It was Fizz Friday. It was gin o'clock. It was... you could buy everything from fridge magnets.
Marketing and advertising.
Gin and tonic yoghurt, vodka ice lollies. There was such a plethora of things that I just think we have to be really careful that we don't trivialise what's a very serious issue, really. And one thing I really wanted to bring up is not just yummy mummies. We've actually got more girls reporting drunkenness and going to hospital age 18 and younger than boys now. So it's a very serious issue that we mustn't dismiss.
It's understanding how your children are reacting is hugely important, Talya, which of course I'm sure you couldn't agree more with. But we've got this message come via Twitter saying I'm bringing our daughter up because wine o'clock led to her mum's alcoholism. And 1 drink can lead to 2 drinks, can lead to more drinks, and then suddenly it becomes more and more regular. And that's an absolute sort of crucial factor, isn't it?
But on the flip side, if you actually not drinking around your children, I mean, if you look at how they are in continental Europe, you know, in Italy and France, where it's a normal thing to drink around your children, and they do not have the issues that we have, you know, is there an argument to say that if you're a little bit more open about drinking, that it helps you also educate about drinking?
I suppose it's the link between a need, a God, I need my drink, that this is marketed at, isn't it? Which maybe we might not feel it, it might be a giggle to the people that have the presents bought for them. However, we don't know what is going into our youngsters' brains sometimes, do we?
That's very true. I do think we need to be mindful of that. I mean, you know, as parents and as adults, we love to ham everything up. You know, we love to, oh, moonlight parenting, it's so tough. And, you know, I, for one, am guilty of that. But I do think we need to be mindful of the messages we're conveying to our children at the same time. So it's everything in moderation, and that includes this kind of stuff, you know, being mindful.
Yeah.
Can we remind really women about what the low-risk guidelines are? Because I think it is all about how much and moderation. So up to 14 units a week, so that's about 7 sort of medium-sized glasses. But what we really don't want is you saving them up for what we call something like a Fizz Friday, another coined phrase, because binge drinking is actually one of the most harmful and damaging in terms of our long-term health consequences. So spread it over the week. Drinking alone, I tend to not recommend. Much better to drink with food and to drink for sociable reasons rather than, oh my goodness, I'm so stressed I can't cope, I need that glass, you know, let's get a little bit out of my wine box.
And why is that? Because it connects, it becomes more of an addiction?
No, it's just we also recommend having at least 1 or 2 drink-free days a week, because then it stops up building up that habituation. But the message is, you know, much better little and often than not very often and a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it is a question of balance, but please think about being a good role model to your children and the sort of example you're setting.
OK. Helena, and also to Talya, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.